Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to episode 25, week 5. And I'm here with Ariana. And how
Hi,
are you?
everybody. I'm doing good. I'm tired and exhausted, but we here to have an amazing episode. We have good stuff that you guys can learn from this episode. It's gonna be a great one. I
Yes,
feel the
sir.
energy.
Yes, sir. It is currently 10:55 p.m. We were having some little technical difficulties beforehand. Ariana was getting into why we're recording so late. I don't know if you want to say it again, though.
Yeah, so before we were rudely interrupted by the internet, the unreliable internet. Um I was saying that yeah, me and Tati we literally always wait until the night before to record because from when the episode comes out from Friday to today, we're literally busy doing schoolwork and working and stuff that we only find the time to record the night before, and it's 11 o'clock. And mind you, after this episode, we still have more stuff to we need to do.
We have homework. Ariana has to do things for her job. We gotta get our blogs ready for the weekend. We have to upload the content to the new thing that we're gonna mention now. Um, our Instagrams, Twitter, all that shebang. Make sure the episode is on all the platforms for you guys to listen to. So it's always a hectic week from Friday till now. And we just can never find time until Thursday. And it's so funny because we talk so much about like trying not to procrastinate, and we procrastinate so much.
Yeah, and literally, guys, my last blog was about how to stay organized. I'm organized. It's just there's not enough hours in the day.
There's really not. Yo, don't get me started because the first day of classes, my professors are like, okay, for every 2 hours of our class, you should be spending how many hours a week on class? 10 hours for our class. And I was like, hold up, sir. That's half my day. I'm up 12 hours in a day. And that's if I had enough sleep while sleeping the night before. But if not, bro, I can barely even do my work straight for one whole hour without getting distracted. So, God bless.
Yeah, he bugging talking about 10 hours. He be
Literally.
grading papers for 10 hours. No,
Literally freaking I think he I don't know. My teacher that said that he's like a bird watcher. So,
oh he watches birds for 10 hours.
yeah. But yeah, guys, don't forget to check out our socials. We're on Instagram and Twitter at The Way We See It with a C. Check out our website. Also, the link can be found in our Instagram and Twitter bio, where you can read each of our blogs, current events, and you can find our resources and citations and more. Make sure you check out our season 1 bloopers, which is also on the website, but also on our YouTube channel, which is also The Way We See It with a C.
And yeah, we have some good news and bad news for our listeners. I'm gonna start
Ah.
with the bad news first. So we decided that we were no longer uploading our episodes on SoundCloud due to not having many listeners using SoundCloud to listen.
Yeah.
Instead, here's the good news. We'll be uploading our episodes on YouTube. So from now on, starting from episode 25 to our future episodes, we'll be uploading the audio and video on our YouTube channel.
Whoop
So
whoop.
not only get to hear us, we get to see our beautiful faces.
Yeah. Like, sheesh. You know what? Now I think I'm gonna have to start dressing up and making sure I look presentable for these episodes because sometimes I'd be looking hit. I'd be coming right out the shower. I'm like, okay, Adi, let's knock this out because we'll post a clip of us on our Instagram. It's only a minute. You're only seeing my chopped face for a minute. Now you're gonna see my chopped face for a whole hour. No, I'm gonna wear a fire fit, have my hair done, and you guys are gonna enjoy it and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yes, sir.
Yes. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that.
Yeah. And to all our Apple Podcast listeners, please feel free to leave a rating as always. And if you could write a review, that would also be great. This also just helps us grow our podcast and lets us know your feedback in general, which you could also do on the website in the forum section. And if anyone has any ideas of topics you want us to cover for the season or who we should collaborate with, don't hesitate to contact us through our website or our socials.
Yeah, so now we're going to get into this week's topic. So this week we're going to be talking about the legalization of recreational marijuana. So Tati, what are your thoughts about the legalization of recreational marijuana, and why do you think it's
Um,
important to talk about?
I think it's important to talk about because like I feel like courts and like the government like and the police just make marijuana seem like more of an issue than it really is because people are forming actual drug addictions to prescriptions that are given to them through hospitals. Meanwhile, that's nothing compared to weed. So I think it's just a nice thing to talk about because I at least me I'm for it even though I don't smoke, but still like I don't see anything wrong with it, and especially like if you see the things that we're obviously going to get into and just like studies that go into it, it's just very soothing and actually can be considered medicine. So a
Yeah,
relaxer.
I also agree that marijuana should be legalized not only on the state level but on a federal level as well, and we'll get more into that in the episode. I'm also I don't smoke weed, but I support the recreational and medical use of weed. Um, and yeah, there are states that are already have recreational weed legalized, which is great. And but like something to think about is that I don't know how those states always wonder how the states that have recreational marijuana, do those states like have like the people who are in jail for like possession of marijuana, do they get released too? I don't know. And yeah,
Yeah, that's something I always wondered also.
and also I want to say a quick story. Like I went to California back in 2019 with some friends, and weed is legally there.
It is?
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
recreationally, and like medically as well.
No wonder. Okay.
And like we passed by like dispensaries, and it was just crazy that you just fly in a plane and you can go to a state that's legal, and you can cop some weed, but then in New York you can't do that, and it's literally in the same country. And people just walking in, like we passed by one time, like after work hours, like 5
Mhm.
p.m. when like normal people get out of work. The line was long as hell. People dressing like in their
To
professional
get
work
weed?
attires. Yeah, it's like picking up a bottle of wine after work. Like they picking up they they stash after work. And it's just like the vibe is like so different there.
That's
And
cool. Not gonna
yeah, it's
lie.
cool. Yeah.
That would make me hop on the line, be like, "Oh, we need this after a long day of work. Bet, like, let's go pick up some weed, like from that one shop." And it's not like you gotta hide what the shop is because it's legal.
Yeah.
I think in New York actually it is legal, but you can't do it like how they have it in California. Like you can only be found with this small ounceage, I believe,
Yeah. There's
and
a
that's it. But still, if you get caught with it, you can still like get a whole ticket and all that stuff.
yeah.
But we're gonna get into it now. So we're gonna get into the difference between medical versus recreational use of marijuana. So legalizing marijuana has been a huge debate for many years in the United States. So like we said in this episode, we're going to discuss the laws, both sides of the debate, as well as states where recreational and medical marijuana is legalized. The main difference between medical marijuana and recreational marijuana is the CBD and the THC content, which are both active ingredients in marijuana. Recreational marijuana has more THC, the ingredient that makes people feel high, content than medical CBD. And many studies have shown how CBD is an excellent remedy for many medical and mental health conditions. For instance, CBD has been specifically proven to have anti-inflammatory, anti-anxiety, antioxidant, and antipsychotic properties. And then medical marijuana. Over time, many states have legalized medical marijuana after realizing the medical benefits of cannabis. As of today, a total of 36 states, damn, have legalized medical marijuana, including the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, baby. To get access to medical marijuana, you must have a medical cannabis card. A New York process to get medical marijuana card. You have to be at least 18 years old and be diagnosed for the qualifying conditions. So like chronic pain, HIV/AIDS, cancer, AIS, PTSD, and other disorders. And fun fact, California was the first state to legalize marijuana in 1996. They knew the vibes.
Yeah, well, medical marijuana.
Yeah, medical marijuana,
Yeah,
but still,
they knew the vibes back in
Listen,
'96, bro. But yeah, I've heard like within. I feel like in the last few years, I've heard more about like CBD. I never heard about it, and I feel like there's CBD everywhere. They make CBD lotion, shampoo. Like they just put CBD in everything.
I didn't even know what CBD was until I read this. I was like, because I don't really be reading like what's in the product sometimes. I check more to see if it's like cruelty free, wasn't tested on animals.
Mhm.
That's why I check. But all the other stuff I haven't really checked, so I didn't even know like the difference.
Yeah. Now for recreational marijuana, as of right now, a total of 15 states have legalized recreational marijuana. Um, to use recreational marijuana, you don't need a medical condition. For the few the ones that Tati listed earlier. And for most states where recreational marijuana is legal, you must be 21 years old. I know for California, you have to be 21 to go inside the dispensaries. And fun fact, Washington and Colorado became the first states to legalize recreational oh, marijuana in 2012. In the notes, it said 2021. I was like,
I was
that does
about to
not
say,
sound
I
right.
was like, there's no way this just happened
Now,
within
I
this.
remember when, like, in 2012, when they legalized recreational marijuana in Washington, Colorado, like, people went crazy. Everyone was like, yo, we all flying to Colorado, this and that. I don't
Really?
know if you remember.
No, girl, I was 11. You were 16 at the time. You tend to forget this. You were 15, 16.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
told my cousins, I have to remind my cousins of our age gap sometimes. We're like, damn, Ariana doesn't even look like she's freaking 24. I'm just like, because she's lit on the inside. She a young soul. But the only thing, like, I've always known Wisconsin was with the recreational marijuana or medical. I wasn't really sure which one specifically, but I had only guessed that because of that 70s show, because they're from Wisconsin and then
Mm.
they're always smoking weed. So I was just like, Wisconsin knows the vibes, but that's it. That's it. um but yeah, following this, we now have the state versus federal laws on medical and recreational use of marijuana. So what does the federal law say about marijuana? At the federal level, marijuana remains illegal. In addition, the federal government classifies marijuana along with heroin and cocaine as a Schedule 1 drug with a potential for abuse and little to no medical benefit. Hmm.
Mm. I have a lot to dissect there. Bro, like when I like looked up the law, like the federal law of marijuana, and I found this, I was like, what? Like they have like marijuana and like heroin and cocaine as the same
In
like
the same
in the
category.
same category. Like, what is life?
Bro,
Like,
listen,
what?
I've seen people of both of those things. And those two, cocaine and what was it, heroin?
Heroin?
Those two effects are nowhere as close to marijuana. Marijuana doesn't reach those levels, okay? Unless your marijuana is laced with something like that,
You
or
smoking that K2?
yeah, or like with angel dust and all that stuff. That's what they call it when you lace like someone's marijuana. Like then that's a problem because you're gonna be tripping off your boots.
Yeah.
But that stuff, I don't think it should be in the same category because there's
Yeah.
literally different levels to it. And even me and my cousins discuss this now because, um, yeah, I feel like there are different kinds of weed and stuff. So they all can affect the person differently each time, like depending on what kind of weed they smoke. But um, I still don't think it'll get you to that level of a high that cocaine and heroin gets you to.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so either. And the fact the law also says that it has no medical effect. Like there's studies out there, like plenty of studies that show that the medical benefits. And there's a lot of people who use it for medical use and it has benefit them a lot.
They're in
But
the
that's the law, guys. That's what the government says. So what does each state say about marijuana? Well, it depends on each state. Some states only have medical marijuana legalized, while others have both medical and recreational. And then there are some states they don't have both, so they get none. That's like some of those states are Montana, Kansas, South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee. The drug dealers on the street, they that's how they get it, I guess. Or
Mhm.
they go to another state nearby. In addition, there are some states like Indiana, Kentucky, Iowa, and Georgia where they only allow CBD oil for medicinal use. So for the medical marijuana, they only allow like CBD oil, so they don't have the THC or high
Yeah.
levels of THC in that oil.
That too. I don't know if you got into it in the episode, but like how they also turn marijuana into the oil, so they have the weed pens. That's
Yeah,
something else too. I wonder like how they like how the government judges that because like, like how many ounces can you tell are in the weed pen?
yeah. There, when I was doing the research, there was like laws about the weed pens, but I didn't put them in this episode because I was
Yeah.
like,
Well, we're gonna definitely have a part two to this episode, guys. So stay tuned.
stay
But
tuned.
so maybe we'll talk about it then.
Mhm.
Um. So yeah, back to New York. New York marijuana laws. Medical marijuana is permitted in New York, and possession of small amounts of decriminalized for personal use. Possession of less than 25 grams of marijuana is a civil violation in New York. Recreational use is illegal, but Governor Cuomo is pushing to legalize recreational marijuana. I think Cuomo knows the vibes. I think that
Oh,
man
he
has
knows. He
definitely
knows the
puffing
vibes.
it. Yeah, he be in his office puffing it up.
Signing the bills.
I said puffing it up. Shawty said smelling the bills. And then New Jersey marijuana laws. On Monday, February 23rd, New Jersey's Governor Phil Murphy signed a bill decriminalizing the use and possession of marijuana for adults 21 years of age or older. Recreational and medical use of marijuana is now legal in New Jersey. We out to New Jersey?
No, like that's right there. And that's what when I heard about this that happened this week, I was like, okay, so what happens if people go to New Jersey and then they live in New York or they live in Connecticut and Pennsylvania, where New York and Pennsylvania, they don't have recreational use. So it's like,
Yeah.
who's controlling that? Ain't nobody like gonna be at the what's it
The
called? The
border
tolls,
testing you out.
the tolls at the bridge and stuff. Like
That's too much.
and like on top of that, like I don't know what they're gonna do with the people in New Jersey who are in jail for marijuana. Like, are they gonna keep them there, being that it's now so
Exactly.
like it's nice that recreational marijuana is now legal there in New Jersey, but what's gonna happen to the people who are in jail for a law that's not doesn't exist anymore?
Yeah, I I agree with that, but I could definitely see why they wouldn't get out of jail at the same time because at the time they were placed into jail, it was when that thing was a law. Like it was
Yeah.
illegal. So
Yeah, I see that.
that's
Yeah.
the only reason why we see like them actually keeping them in there. And then yeah, what happens when a federal and state law comes into conflict? As you see, the federal and state laws of marijuana are different, which can make it difficult to understand. According to the Supremacy Clause of the U.S. Constitution, the federal law controls when state and federal law conflict. In other words, federal law is the supreme law of the land. Wow, that's so funny. I just wrote that in my government notes last week. On writing about the Constitution of America. Anyways, in 2013, the Department of Justice, President Obama's administration, issued a Cole memo, which signaled a huge shift in federal law enforcement policy on marijuana in America. The Cole memo issued states that the federal government would not challenge new state laws as long as the states regulated their marijuana industries. Then, in 2018, during the Trump administration, the Department of Justice terminated this policy and announced that federal prosecutors can pursue criminal cases whenever state and federal marijuana laws collide. I hate Trump. Like, literally, that man, I think just because he hated Obama so much, like, something like this, not even bad. And what
Yeah.
does he have to do? Literally just have to get it out the way because Obama did it.
Yeah, like
So extra.
yeah.
I hate I hate knowing that he's from Queens. Like, it's such a disgrace for me.
And when I read about the Cole memo, the Department of Justice signed off about having um the federal government not being challenged by the state law, since as you can see they are different
Hmm.
compared to the federal. Federally, it's marijuana is illegal, but depending on the state, some cases it could be legal or not. And that was like the one of the very few times that the state had was like above the federal. So that was like a big thing.
Yeah.
And now, as of right now, that policy is now terminated. So
Let's see.
yeah.
I don't know.
It's weird because now these laws, I guess they depend on who's ever in the White House.
Biden.
Yeah, I don't know what he's gonna do about it. I don't know what are his exact plans.
I don't know what he's doing right now. He seems like I was just looking at him and Kamala's Instagram earlier before this.
Me
For one of
too.
our current events. You saw what?
Me same. I was looking at their socials.
Yeah, for one of the current events, and I was just looking at them. I was just like, "You better be doing your job." Like, what are you really doing in there? Like, I don't even know. And then also, because of our other current event with Obama, like, it made me think about like the differences. But anyways, so the next one is about pros and cons of legalizing marijuana. So now we're gonna get into the pros and the cons. There are many pros and cons to this controversial debate, like we said. So we're just gonna discuss the main points that are usually brought up in the debate. So the first pro is that marijuana legalization boosts the economy. The marijuana industry, adult use and medical, in the United States could exceed 24 billion in revenue by 2025. Sheesh! For every $1 spent in the marijuana industry, between $2.13 and $2.40 in economic activity is generated. Wow. And then the legal marijuana industry generated 7.2 billion in economic activity in 2016 and added millions of dollars in federal taxes paid by cannabis businesses. Sheesh.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. And
Oh,
it's like going back to like my argument, I'm gonna keep on saying this because it just gets me mad that there's mad people like making money off like now that a lot of states are getting marijuana legalized, and there's people like working like cents an hour in jail to like get their commissary and stuff. So but yeah, so I'm gonna be saying like the cons on each point that Tati's gonna make. So a con
mhm.
for um about the economy. So legalized marijuana creates steep costs for society and taxpayers for that far outweigh in tax revenues. Social costs of marijuana use include paying for increased emergency room visits, medical care, and addiction treatment for the uninsured. More victims of drugs driving accidents, increased crime, and a negative impact on health from secondhand smoke. Annual societal costs from alcohol are two 223.5 billion, and tobacco is 193 billion, far exceeded the 24 billion in tax revenues they raise. Money raised from legal marijuana taxes generally accounts for less than 1% of the state's tax revenue.
Hmm. Damn. Like I had an idea that marijuana made all this money, but then again, taxes really does like ruin a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's why I can understand a lot of people that like sell marijuana on the low so they don't have to file out for taxes and all that. And then obviously because like it could be illegal in the state still, I can understand why they wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah. And like to like sell like weed in the dispensary, you have to have like a license for that. So who's regulating who's get the license or not? So I don't know what's the
Yo, this girl. Sorry.
oh,
No, off topic, guys, but this book I'm reading, the girl just updated 2 chapters today. She snapped.
oh man, I lost my thought.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was just excited. She followed me on Instagram today. I was fangirling. I was like, oh my God. And she's younger than me.
The girl that writes the stories on Wattpad?
Yeah, and Patron, which is the one I pay for to
You
read.
mean Patreon?
Patreon. Oh, I say Patron. Sorry. Hey, YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
but going to the next pro. You don't remember what you were trying to say, right?
No, I don't remember.
Okay. So then there's also now the next pro, which is legalization of marijuana is phasing out black markets and taking money away from drug cartels, organized crime, and street gangs. Data from the US Border Patrol shows that marijuana seizures have decreased by millions of pounds and are at their lowest levels in over a decade, indicating that legal domestic production is decreasing demand for marijuana smuggled in from Mexico. That's actually like a really nice probe because it's so funny that I remember when Trump was talking about, oh, we'll build a wall, it'll stop all this stuff from coming in. Doesn't matter if you make a wall from Mexico, drugs are gonna come into the country anyways, not even from Mexico. It's going to come from somewhere else, even if it's Canada. So it's going to come from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And but I I do see that as that's why I always said I'm for the legalization of marijuana because not only does it help people not get charged for something so silly as just even maybe an ounce, but it also like helps lessen like crime rates and like gangs and just basically what I just said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now I'm gonna go into the con of that. So the black market and organized crime benefit from marijuana legalization. Law enforcement says that legal marijuana has actually enhanced opportunities for the black market. Prices charged by the state licensed sellers can easily be undercut by cartels. Um, so basically saying like if marijuana gets legalized, that the the weed that they're gonna be selling in the dispensaries and the different like weed companies are gonna be competing with those who sell like under
Off
the
the
black
books.
market.
Yeah. Damn. That's OD. Then the next pro, the enforcement of marijuana prohibit prohibition
Prohibition.
prohibition. Okay. The the enforcement of marijuana prohibition. I said it right.
Yeah.
Um, the enforcement of marijuana prohibition is racist because people of color are disproportionately impacted. Statistics show a significant racial disparity in the enforcement of marijuana laws. Even though white and black people use marijuana at roughly the same rate, a black person in the United States is 3.73 3.73 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana possession on average. Marijuana possession convictions can impact people's ability to get public housing, financial aid for school loans, and jobs. Over the past 10 years, drug sentences for black men have been 9% to 13% longer than those received by white men. Unreal.
Yeah. Another form of systematic racism, guys.
Literally. Ugh,
But- oh,
triggered.
you were gonna say something?
I was just saying I'm triggered.
Yeah.
Because it's true and it's annoying because like I like stuff like that. I think about like my brother and everything because like what if he wants to smoke weed when he gets older? Like I wouldn't be against it. I'd be like, hey, have a good time, just watch yourself.
Mhm.
But he is darker than me, and if he got caught with that, he could be in that same situation. So it's annoying.
Yeah. hmm Now, a con to that. So, legalizing marijuana leads to more marijuana related medical emergencies. After retail marijuana stores opened in Colorado, emergency room visits related to marijuana shot up nearly 30%, and hospitalizations related to marijuana rose 200%. People end up in the ER with anxiety attacks or psychotic like symptoms from eating sweets infused with more marijuana than they were expecting, or in some cases, not expecting at all. Poison control marijuana exposure cases for kids ages 9 and under increased more than five fold in Colorado after legalization.
Yeah.
So yeah, these when you have these like debates and like it's like you kind of like think about the other side because I'm on the pro side, but then I'm reading the con side and I'm like,
It kind of makes sense also. That's why.
like
So
both sides. I get both sides, but I don't know.
I get both sides, but I'm still gonna be here for the weed. Like, I really don't mind weed. Like, it's just like the only reason why I don't smoke is because it's not for me and everything. But like, I really have nothing against weed. But the only thing I would say about weed is maybe have like an age limit because I
Yeah,
definitely feel like a lot of people that start smoking weed at a younger age, where I saw a lot of people start smoking weed, definitely affects their brains and stuff. It makes them feel
yeah,
very dependent on it. And
yeah,
yeah,
because our brains are still growing like as
yeah,
teenagers.
and that's what my dad always told me too. He's like, listen, if you ever decide to smoke weed, you better do it once you're an adult because if you damage your brain, you're gonna be stupid forever. And I'm just like, okay. But yes, that's all I would say. Like maybe have like age regulations, like kind of rules, so it doesn't impact young teens like so much as it does now. Because I definitely feel, especially with COVID, when it first started, I saw a lot of people like going through like strict withdrawals from like weed. So that
Oh,
was,
because they didn't have their people getting it.
yeah, because everybody was on lockdown, like
Yeah,
because nobody knew how serious the virus was.
yeah.
So then, yeah, so the next pro, traffic deaths and arrests for DUIs do not increase and may decrease when marijuana is legalized. Traffic deaths dropped 11% on average in states that legalized medical marijuana. Arrests for driving under the influence have decreased in Washington and Colorado. Studies show that drivers under the influence of marijuana tend to be more cautious and take fewer risks than drunk drivers, such as making fewer lane changes and reducing speed. I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a con to that, so traffic, so the con side says traffic accidents and deaths increase when marijuana is legalized. Marijuana related traffic deaths rose 62% following the legalization of marijuana in Colorado. The AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety reported that fatal crashes involving marijuana doubled after legalization in Washington, and the Highway Loss Data Institute found an increased crash risk in legal marijuana states and said collision claims in Colorado, Nevada, and Oregon and Washington increased 6% as compared to the states that don't have legal marijuana.
That's very contradicting to the pro
Yeah.
I just said.
When I was like reading this, I'm like, I'm wondering like if the people that had these fatal crashes, traffic deaths, that they had other things in their symptoms in their system.
Systems, yeah.
Um, yeah, because like maybe like marijuana was in their system, but what else is in there that could be like impacting their like driving? So yeah, and
Yeah,
like
for sure.
and
Because
where they're getting their weed from too.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's where I feel like definitely there's different types of weed because I see how, like, there are different types of weed. People post different types of weed all the time, whether it's different flavors to different amounts of THC in it or whatever. And like, just like how one day can affect them just as a normal high, and then the next time they do it, it's like a crazy high. Like, and that thing is really also just really contradicting. It really has me thinking because I'm just like, damn, like I've seen
Yeah,
people that are high, like be super cautious and be careful, like 10 times safer than a drunk driver.
yeah,
But then you see the statistics with like the deaths.
yeah. Yeah, these like facts that we're saying are from a website, official website that is like pros and cons, and they have like the resources where they get their studies from. We did not read in depth of the studies because there's many studies,
Yeah.
but it's always interesting like to see like where exactly these facts are coming from.
Yeah. And then so the last pro is that crime goes down when marijuana is legalized. Studies show that medical marijuana dispensaries decreased crime in their neighborhoods because of an increased security presence, and more people walking around the area. Research indicates that people drink less and alcohol sales drop in places where marijuana is legalized. I don't know about that. That
About
last
crime going down. Oh, the last part.
yeah, with like alcohol sales even going down, I would think that it's the alcohol sales will match the marijuana because I also have seen people drink and smoke, and
Yeah,
a lot of people like both of them.
and they be crossfaded, but
OD. Yeah. But what's the con?
marijuana use harms. Wait, marijuana use harms the brain, and legalization will increase mental health problems. Cannabis use may increase the risk of developing schizophrenia, depression, and other psychiatric disorders. Researchers at Harvard and Northeastern found that recreational marijuana smokers showed abnormalities in the shape, volume, and density of the certain areas of the brain. And like back what Tati was saying of the impact of like smoking weed at a young age.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know from like research that I've done and like reading, smoking weed affects your dopamine levels, which are like I'm gonna get sciencey here, which are like neurotransmitters that like make us happy. So when we eat our favorite food, when we play sports, we like get dopamine, and that's what makes us feel good. And when you smoke weed, that happens. But when you smoke weed, it does it at excessive an amount, like an unnormal amount,
Yeah.
and like our body like naturally produces, and then eventually you run out of dopamine, and that's when like mental illness can come in. Doesn't happen to everybody because everybody's bodies looks different, and also
Hmm.
depends what you're smoking, how much, the levels of THC, and all that.
Yeah, I'll admit, honestly, I did some smoking back when I was in high school. More so around the time my uncle died. So, I actually like do agree with that because I remember, and I'll never forget, like, because it made so much sense to me that in my health class my sophomore year, my health teacher was saying how the thing that many kids and many people do not realize is that subconsciously, like the reason why they keep on smoking. Like, sure, some people may like it, but also for other people, they're trying to chase the same high that they had originally the first time because it's new to your body, affects the dopamine, like you said, and other things in your body. But as you keep doing it over time, your body gets accustomed to it. So it makes you want to smoke more or try different things and other levels. And that's literally part of the reason why I had to stop because I was just like, yeah, no, this isn't working out. And then on top of that, I really felt myself like being OD slow. Like I couldn't even remember like half my conversations with people, even when I was sober. So I was just like, yeah, I'm done. So that's why I had stopped smoking.
Well, yeah. Disclosure: I never smoked weed before,
Yeah.
but that's it. Never like called my name. Although I support the smoking weed, I don't judge my friends that do it.
Yeah, I
They
don't
want to
judge
do
them
that.
either.
That's cool.
Yeah. I just know my dad's definitely texting me after this episode and he's gonna be like, so you did it?
Oh.
But he'll be fine. I don't do it anymore, Daddy. So yeah, that's what matters. And it's been a while. Anyways, so that concludes basically the topic of legalization of marijuana. I hope you guys like enjoyed it and learned new things. Especially even just from things that we've heard about that we didn't get into that much depth. Um, because like we obviously don't know the facts. Like this is just our opinion. But I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something new and maybe a perspective changed or a new point of view. Cause those cons were something.
Yeah, those cons, like they got it, but I'm still on the pro side.
Yeah, facts. I'm like, all right, everybody, let's get litty. Freaking got the people smoking on that side. I'll just be drinking Patron.
Yeah, but I definitely feel like in the future, like marijuana will be legalized in 50 states,
Oh
which
yeah.
is why, guys, I'm not like, a big experts on stocks, but I advise you to start buying stocks, cabin marijuana stocks
Mm.
now because that shit is gonna boost now. And the fact that Democrats are in the majority in the House and Senate. So, I'm just saying a little suggestion. I don't know too much about stocks, but
No, it is. It's actually pretty good for people to invest in those things now before they actually boost. Because then, by the time it does boost, they're millionaires.
yeah.
So
hmm And
you'd be surprised.
they're really like low right now. They're like you can find ones like under $10, like one share. So
Yeah.
just a tip, guys. But if I go broke, don't come for me. As I said, I'm not an expert.
She gave you a tip. Uh, you guys get the idea. So, anyways, into the current events for this week. Our first one has to do with the Rochester officers that are responsible for the death of Daniel Prude and how they will not be charged for his death. So, Daniel Prude was a victim of police brutality last March. Some of you guys may remember us discussing his case in one of our episodes from season 1, but for those that don't remember, here's a recap. Last March in 2020 in Rochester, New York, Daniel Prude, who was having a psychotic episode, quote unquote, ran out of his brother's house, who he was visiting, shirtless and without shoes. In response to the situation, his brother called 911 to get help and get his brother to help get his brother to calm down. And then there was also another call supposedly that was sent to the police station saying that a man was running naked in the street yelling he had the coronavirus, and this was stated by the New York Times. When the police found Daniel, they were able to handcuff him, like they said, with no problem. Like it was an easy thing. Like they just found him, they handcuffed him, and they were gonna put him in the car supposedly. But things eventually escalated when Daniel started to spit at the officers and try to stand up from when they had him on his knees to arrest him. And so, in response to this, the police threw him down to the ground and covered his face with a hood. The camera footage, which was recording the scene from one of the officers' uniforms, showed all of this unfold as the officers were on top of Daniel and held him face down in the ground with the hood over his face. After 2 minutes, Daniel Prude stopped breathing, but paramedics were able to bring him back. But then, unfortunately, he died a week later in the hospital. And now, months later, um, it's been a back and forth kind of case that they waited too long. They were waiting for this entire time to like get situated and figure out like what was going to come from this. And basically, the grand jury handled this case of holding the police responsible for Daniel Prude's death and claimed it wasn't the officers' fault, and the officers that were involved in the incident are not getting charged for his death.
Lord Jesus.
Yeah.
That's
There's a
all.
whole bunch of protests going on over there too in
Yeah,
Rochester.
Rochester. They don't. I be seeing like their like pictures that they post from Rochester. They be going at it. The protests up there, upstate.
OD.
I've never been to Rochester, but yeah, it's literally like this incident happened on video. So I don't understand. Like,
I remember talking about it in our episode like vividly because I forget the name of the guy. It was definitely in one of our episodes between 1 to 7. um as far as I remember, but
yeah,
it's like, how are you saying, because they were trying to say that the camera, they were trying to make excuses for what the camera was showing you. You see the police holding him face down on the ground, pulling the hood over his face, suffocating him and everything. People were making excuses. I was like, what's the excuse about that? Like, it, you see what you're seeing. They're on him, they're suffocating him.
yeah. I
They
don't.
killed him right there, right then and there. And if the paramedics weren't able to revive him, he still would have been dead. And I still think the police still should be responsible because at the end of the day, they did injure him and use excessive force than they needed to. Um, and yeah, it literally got out of hand, like for no
Yeah,
reason, because, and that's where I say there's no excuse for using that kind of violence, especially when you're a police officer, because at the end of the day you need to get your emotions in check, just
yeah,
like how you're not gonna fight somebody else in the street just randomly. You're not gonna do that to somebody while you're working, and on top of that, they're mentally unstable and have an issue, like, because he
yeah.
I forget what his problem was, but he was on medication because he, like,
I
I
think he was
forget.
he was having a mental health crisis during the
Yeah,
time that the police was called to the scene.
yeah, I
As
just
far
don't
as
know
I
which
recall.
what he was diagnosed with, obviously, but he was having a mental health crisis, so
Yeah.
it's just sad.
And the fact, like, I remember, like, when we were talking about this incident, Rochester, like, police was saying, "Oh, now we're gonna implement trainings of how to handle mental health crisis."
Dika.
And I'm just like, so yeah. So the fact that yeah, adding in like after this crisis, and mind you, we had a current event the other week. Something happened in Rochester.
Always something in
Yeah.
Rochester. They're crazy over there.
Um,
I only gone there one time, and it was for a volleyball game. They lost, and that's how I just knew Rochester was just a-ish.
but yeah, the fact like that they decided to have mental health trainings for officers after the Daniel Prude incident. So that I'm thinking they added that maybe for clout because they don't want to feel,
Oh yeah.
you
To
know,
think that they did that for any other reason but clout, to try and make themselves look redeemable for what the whole, like,
for killing somebody.
what the whole department is responsible for. Yeah, because at the end of the day, the department is going to be responsible for that too, because you hire that person. You hire those individuals. These individuals that you clearly are blind to see have a racist problem or
Yeah,
have like a personal vendetta and all this other shit. So it's annoying.
yeah.
Anyways, we
Okay,
have
next.
some lighter current
Yes.
events coming up.
Lighter news. Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen, I think I'm pronouncing his name right,
Springsteen, yeah.
and their have their podcast deal.
Debut.
They're having like a podcast coming out very
Mm-hmm.
soon. So Barack Obama, former president of the United States, politician and lawyer from Hawaii, starts a podcast with Bruce Springsteen.
Springsteen.
Um, Springsteen is an American rock star from New Jersey. That is so cool, like that dynamic. I wonder how that's
I
gonna turn out.
know. I was reading the article and I was just like, wow, like that's so cool. Like Barack Obama and then freaking talking and literally bonding with a rock star. And that's like his best friend.
Oh wow. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oof. I hope I find the time to listen to
I know I want to listen to it so bad because I was reading it and I was just seeing that they consider each other like best friends and like talk about how much of a close bond that they really do have. Like, it's just like, wow, like I want to see that because I would never think that the president of the United States would be friends with like a rock star.
Rockstar. Yeah. So yeah, they speak about why a lot of people may be surprised that these two individuals who have two completely different careers would have a podcast together and discuss that they're actually really good friends. They recorded 8 episodes for their podcast in a farmhouse on Springsteen's property and discussed different issues and their lives. In the first episode, they discussed how they felt like outsiders when growing up and the role they had in America with issues with the race.
Yeah.
So it's out already.
Um, the first 2 episodes are already out on Spotify.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah,
nice.
and it's only on Spotify. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm
Wait,
gonna
I,
definitely
I
listen to
think
it.
Spotify is free for like college students, for my college people out there.
It's free for everybody.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just that you're gonna have ads.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was reading into it, and they basically were saying how they literally just talk about everything, like whether it's political and how much America has changed since COVID and all this other stuff, but like also their marriages, their families growing up, and like them adjusting to new lifestyles as they obviously became famous in the world. And I was just like, wow, I want to read that. It's like a little coming of age like reflection or something like that.
Yeah. It sounds so cool. I'll definitely see if I can check it out.
Yeah. And then the next current event has to do with the U.S. House of Representatives passing the Equality Act, and this actually happened today, February 25th. Um, the House of Representatives voted 224 votes against 206 votes to pass the Equality Act. The Equality Act aims to expand civil rights for the LGBTQ plus Americans and help ban discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity. The Equality Act was originally introduced in the 70s, but was always turned down, especially when it was reintroduced in 2019 by the Republican led Senate, from obviously the Trump administration. And then Representative David Cecilian, I can't say his last name correctly, said every American deserves respect and dignity, and the Equality Act, if it became law, would ensure that the LGBTQ Americans can lives, live live their lives freely of discrimination. That's what I meant to say. And the act is now being sent to the Senate for consideration. And if it gets passed by Senate,
It
it's like,
passes.
yeah, that goes
I
into
hope I hope the
it's a
Senate
part of the Constitution
yeah, I hope the Senate does this
Amendment.
thing and I have high hopes for the Senate. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I hope they just keep sending it back to the Senate over and over again until they pass it.
Yeah.
Because that's actually nice. And I actually saw a video of AOC talking about it, and the importance of it. And if you guys want to check that out, you could check out our Twitter because I retweeted it there. And then the last one.
Yeah. The last one is kind of ending on a sad note, but
Yeah.
it's reality. It's reality that we're all dealing with right now. 500,000 Americans have now died due to COVID-19. We're almost a year into the pandemic, and the US has lost over 500,000, which is half a million Americans due to COVID-19. And now the novel coronavirus is now the third leading cause of death in the US. On Monday, February 22nd, President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris held a moment of silence to remember the Americans who have died due to COVID-19 at the White House.
Yeah. And so we're gonna have a moment of silence and to like pay our respects for those that have lost their lives due to COVID. So just take this minute with us as we have that moment of silence. All right, thank you guys. So yeah, sad note, but it's okay. Me and Adi can always lift up the mood at the end anyways, because we be talking our ish at the end of the podcast. But I actually wanted to talk about also that I totally forgot to mention this in the current event, but I definitely want to do an episode on this. and you guys, you're obviously going to hear it because I'm saying it right now, but I definitely want to write about the attacks on the Asian community right now, because I honestly feel like it's not getting the attention it deserves. And it's really heartbreaking for me to see a lot of my Asian friends, ugh, don't want to get emotional, but like them literally posting um like how it's literally just being pushed to the side when it could literally be their families that get targeted next. And freaking how like everybody can like post about Black Lives Matter and talk about unity, and then when it comes to anything other than Black lives and Hispanic lives, like nobody wants to post anything about it.
Hmm.
Like basically saying that, like there's more than just white, Black, and Hispanic. There's Asians, Pacific Islanders, Indians, like there's there's so many different races,
Yeah.
so, and it's important that we all acknowledge it, because then it's times like this where everybody starts to feel divided, not from just being black and white, but like in these kinds of cases too. So
Yes.
it's really sad for me. And a lot of people also in Queens and Flushing are getting attacked. Elderly Asian women, men, people getting their things stolen from them. And I know too many people from the city that if that happened to their parents or even to them, it would be very like sad. So
Yes.
it sucks. But would love to do a topic on that. And if you guys happen to see anything about the Asian communities and how you can help, which we've also been posting on our stories, also like some posts from like activist
Pages.
pages. Yeah. Definitely repost that on your page. Read it just to see how you can also help people that whether you know them or not, and just help to just spread awareness in some kind of way.
Yes.
So, and if you also see this kind of violence daily, don't be afraid to call 911 or help that person that's being attacked in the moment. So,
Yeah, there's actually a hotline. I don't know the name of it, but um we'll post it on our resources page that you can find on our website. There's a
mm,
hotline that you can contact when you specifically experience or witness Asian American hate crime.
yeah. So, if anything, we'll put that definitely in our website also, so you guys could check that out. But yeah, guys, this concludes this week's episode. Stay tuned for our blogs. I did not post anything last week for my blog, but I'll give you an idea because I'm gonna upload it tomorrow, plus the blog for this week. But I'm writing about the worst date I've ever been on, and then I'm gonna write my tips for guys for this week's blog. That's what I'm
I
writing about.
can't wait to read.
Yeah. I feel like I have so many tips, like, and especially having a guy best friend and just seeing how stupid he is, I'm just like, yeah. I feel like every guy needs to hear this. Because I really feel like I don't know, I feel like this last I feel like everybody just doubts women and women power and like being able to
Yeah.
move on and get up from something so like drastic. Doesn't matter what the situation is. So, and women, what's it? Women's Month is next
Yeah,
month.
Women's Month is coming up March 1st.
Yeah,
Was good.
empowerment.
Also, Dominican Independence Day is coming up too this
Oh,
weekend. Yeah.
already?
Yeah.
Damn! I got my flag up in the crib upstate. Damn. I literally got that flag for this exact reason so I could run across my house and be like, look, mommy, it's Dominican Independence Day. And she's gonna be like, you're not Dominican. I'm like, yes, I am. She says I'm not Dominican because I didn't grow up with my dad's side of the family. I grew up more with
Uh,
Puerto Rican side.
that
But it
shit's
doesn't
in your,
matter. I'm still
that shit's
Dominican
in
at
your
the end of the day.
blood. You like mango?
Hot, yeah.
Then you Dominican. That's
It
it. That's it.
slaps.
You
But you know what's so
classified.
crazy? I had never had mango in my life until the summer.
Oh, I was about to say you never had it before. At least you had it. I was about.
But it was so good. I remember how it tasted, how it looked, and I was like, wow. So this is what everybody's talking about. But yeah, I mean, I'm 50-50. I'm half Puerto Rican, half Dominican. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm still it at the end of the day. But yeah, we live. But yeah, guys, you have anything else you want to say, Adi?
No, just hope you guys enjoy this episode. It was great energy in this episode. I enjoy recording it. Hope you guys enjoy as much listening to it.
Yeah, guys. So we'll catch you next week, and just stay tuned for what comes on the website next.
Bye.